The Hive Tyrant commands you to obey. I thought that maybe I should just make a new... Immediately after the video, I realized, well, this Tyrannofex was rather useful. Let's get another Trigon. They can bury under and they're very mobile, so highly useful. And my Hornagaunt, these here, I didn't really use them. So they just stood there and took damage. Why not get these Termagants, because I actually used them in the battle. So why not get a lot more of them, so like double the amount of infantry sort of than before, and increases firepower. So if I don't care about what damage I do, shouldn't I just try to make as much damage as possible instead of trying to hold back the melee units? And they get power from each other, so they might be individually slow. And these Tervigons can just spawn more Termagants every other turn. So if I lose one, that's okay. An extra Gargoyle for extra morale boosting. The warriors are there to support, like they give cover fire because they actually have range. And these Termagants are to be ahead of the warriors, so that, yeah, they will soak up the damage, but the warriors will give cover fire for the Termagants. We're vulnerable to flames, but if we notice a flamer, we can spread out, and that will diminish their effect of the flamer, and we can then got an extra anti-tank gun for some extra support. So I think this will be a much better build for the Tyrannids in the future. So that is the Tyrannids anyway, that update, but we can go through their units real quick. Hive Tyrant is he's a good unit. Flying, of course, as I said, the Trevigon heals, spawns new, can kill an infantry unit immediately. It is a leader, so we can coordinate with other creatures. It's independent from the hive mind, but hero unit, and can also make what's this? How you get into free tiles with this is not really, but good claws though. Better than the hive tyrant, but I mean the prime, but gets free 30 to 40 and a splash damage, so maybe more against anti-horde or something. But this is a more like, this is a very good hero. High guard has a good weapon, but they're slow, so, and they can be easily killed also, so not really. Veteran tropes I haven't learned enough to be able to use them effectively. I'm still learning Tyrannofex. Maybe not against Astra militarium. Against other factions, maybe the orcs is probably more useful. Not Astra militarium. Very useful unit, very mobile unit. Can dig under as a surprise. If I get within a horde of an enemy, I can just use Black Pulse. This bioelectric pulse, just kill all enemy infantry. Maybe I get there. If there's a square of 4 guardsmen units, I get in the middle, and then I will kill everything there. He's a anti-tank just to keep enemy at bay. If I have a point advantage, you only need to delay. This is a good unit. It damages if it gets meleeed, it will damage back. It's a battering ram, so it can do things, and then it also can act as a support and has a good armor piercing. So better than a warrior in some cases, but it doesn't have the link. However, the poison here could be handy. So it will do 40 damage after a turn. Of course, this is artillery. This is a flamer. This is a very good unit, very durable unit. Low range, but it has very good support, hit and run. Officers, better ranged weapons. Get enthusiastic if they kill an enemy, can attack them again. And more lethal in a melee fight. That's where they're supposed to go. Gene Stealers more durable than the Onagons, has better armor piercing, but they will also be They will also be a priority target if they get, but they're also expensive. So then it's better to just keep swarming in with more units that, you know, just get more of them. These guys, they're cheaper also, so you can get 2 termagants for every one. So that's a huge boon to the Tyranid army. I think I figured it out. Question is how the deployment in that city. I still have to work on that, but I think that Hive Tyrants. I got one extra here, and you're maybe supposed to have one of these on the high ground when you take your first flag. To sort of have a little bit of guard on that side, and then you take the Hive Tyrant to the far sides where it's harder for the enemy to hit you, and you sort of try to pick off the easy targets first with the Hive Tyrants, and then you sort of work your way up the food chain, just like the Great Devourer is supposed to work. So this is just a quick update on the Tyranid army update for myself. And for the Astra Militarum, as you see, I got a lot of Astra Militarum. Instead of the Sentinels, I got more heavy weapons teams here. One of them have an autocannon, because I got the 10 points over. So it's a little bit more armor piercing damage. So it shoots more per 2 stacks spent. So if you just it stays on the stays, it will do more consistent damage, especially against Gargoyles. I think this will be a very good weapons. And then you have 2 frags with 9 range here. So it's like, why not have 2 of these guys? They can protect the tanks. So why not? They're slow, but maybe sacrifice some mobility and just get some more. I will sacrifice some guardsmen to get the heavy weapons in place, maybe, because the Sentinels didn't really do much in the battles. So I'm pretty sure they're good. Like the Flamers are very good. Like if you really want to clear out, then maybe you really, but you need to be aggressive, because well, okay, Overwatch will do its job. It will burn, but then if a clever enemy will just send one enemy unit, it's not place another unit right behind, and then and then attack. So it will burn the first unit it targets. So if we need to be on the offensive, if you're gonna use a flamer, Plasmas in paper, that's good, but I haven't really found it be useful like when I played it against Tau. But Tau are very advanced also. So multi-laser, I thought, yeah, it did something, but nothing decisive. And what's this rocket launcher? But you don't have a rocket. You haven't used this one. You have to have a rocket on there. Anyway, so that's just a quick army update. I think this is a better Astra army than what I displayed. So yeah, but okay, yeah. We can go through the officers. We can go through the units. The Custodian is a very good melee unit. If you get Power Fist, he can take out beasts and do significant damage. He's also pricey. Or she's pricey, I would say. Yeah, she says, take that back. Tank Commander, though, I find is more useful. He's more mobile, he's more armored, has the last cannon, heavy bolter. You could go for the multi-meta, but I find since you want to try to keep the commander back and just use him when you have a high value target like a Hive Tyrant or another monster, then you pop these pounded to dust, and you can use this to great effect. So that's sort of why I have this heavy bolter here. It did the job against the Hive Tyrant, so I can't complain. Commissary, so the enemies behind me. You show them steel. You get extra melee for all infantry units. Maybe he's like in the middle, and there's 4 guardsmen like a cross on the side of them. You pop that, show them steel, and then attack. But you would rather try to avoid getting attacked in the first place than spend those kind of points. take aim gives more ranged accuracy, so you can target more far away. But the infantry of the last guns are not exactly famous for their accuracy. But they have very good bayonets. You can't complain about this infantry. For the price, grenades that kills the Tyranid low tier units with one. Hell yeah, and then you have several of them, so you can just like take turns and just chuck grenades at the incoming enemies. Once you've taking a position, you can just hold your ground. Let the tanks do the job, set up some extra support teams, and just keep moving. So yeah, let us... the Psyker can pull units out of combat. And you can also make a unit immune to Overwatch. So maybe if I wanted to have a Sentinel, for example, I could use it to just march straight into the enemy just to see what they have. But hey, I need to retreat the Sentinel also. So isn't it just better than to just try to already have a reconnaissance in place and then try to prevent things from happening? So Ogrens I haven't used. They have more health, and for 110 points they are good. They can prevent if I took away the heavy weapon squad. This would give me enough so that I would be able to dare to melee a warrior or go to melee. That's their so they that's probably how they're supposed to be used. They have a little bit more armor, so they're durable. They don't shoot much though, so they shoot 3 each, so 9 shots. The Ogrins were like their weapons had a little bit. They don't spray and pray like the average last gun. So yeah, the Ogrins are powerful, but you also need to more specialized infantry here. Yay! They can lay mines, or maybe in that stairway you can place a mine there, and then you will wipe a unit, do damage to them. This is the heavy tank. It has more weapon than a Lehman Russ available to it. Be disciplined with what you choose. This Punisher pulverizer weapon is more, or pulverizer cannon is much better. It has better armor piercing than this. So if they have the same range, so isn't it better to just make? Okay, the thing is that this shoots several, so it will hit several models at the same time. But the armor piercing is rather low, so if there's a big monster that you need to take out, the pulverizer cannon is best. And isn't it better to just assume that's exactly what you're going to fight, and then have this cannon able to deal with warriors instead? So you have a pulverizer cannon with big monsters, and then you have either the heavy bolter, but I went with the Melta because it deals with monsters on even my Lehman Russes that are a little bit cheaper. There are several different variants here also for the Lehman Rusher. You can have anti-infantry setup because 5 range with 100 shots. So it's really just sprays around and do a lot of damage to all models, but maybe not completely decisive. The Demolisher has more reliable with really good accuracy, but you need to be very close to the enemy, and we don't want to get locked down. The Vanisher is an anti-tank with a long-range cannon, so it has 10 in range, which is really good. However, if you try to close with the enemy, the accuracy diminishes and you get less effective. So if you need to be on the long range, this is a good weapon. But yeah, overall though, the Lehman Russes, the standard battle cannons is the way to go because it's more higher flexibility. So that's why you take it. It does enough damage, and to all units, like the smaller units are not a threat anyway. So if you just coordinate with some infantry, you're safe. So there's no real not to take this one. It will do enough damage. Just be disciplined, and you're supposed to stay away from the enemy anyway. So why make it more complicated? Heavy weapons team, very good unit, very cheap unit. So why not take this as a, like, if there's a low something that you don't really plan to invest in, maybe a very good point, something more tactical. This can help protect your tanks because your tanks can't repair themselves. So isn't it better to have some of these men to just help protect that? Sentinel, mobile unit with armor, can go into an Overwatch and probably survive, depending upon, of course, what is guarding. Can give you a good information about what's in there. But yeah, that's about the usefulness of it. It can survive the first shots and then retreat, but it won't do that much damage itself. Guardsmen, fantastic. They have the last gun, which has like more range. They have more range, less accuracy. They need to get closer if you have the bayonet, but the bayonet gives them ability to fight back, and also lock a tile. So the enemy will have to, so you can body block with these Cadian shock troops, and they can hurl grenades if needs be. You just have a screen with these guardsmen and just do whatever damage in an Overwatch that you can get. This is a good Chimera is a good transport, but you can only transport like maybe one weapon transport. For the price, it's not really worth it. You can have a heavy bolter also that goes down with 3 turns, or a flamer. So maybe this is exactly what you're supposed to have in that low. Where something on the front that has little action. You can have this one pop, or when you can move quickly to a position, unload a weapons team, set it up, and then start getting bonuses. Especially if it's maybe it's a decision that you plan to, very important for your tanks, for example. So you got a good screen. So then this can screen you, but I don't think it's worth the price. But that's just my opinion, and I'm rather new to multiplayer, and I'm still trying to find the right balance and the right units to use in different situations. But I find that maybe one Lehman Rush Vanisher to support the other Lehman Russes with normal cannons, then the Royal Dorms also, that's probably the way to go. But I need to test it more in order to know for sure. But I hope you enjoyed my rambling. Bye.